Commuter railroads are home to one of the busiest forms of rail transportation, so I'll be discussing the major commuter railroads around the country. For each railroad, I will briefly discuss its history, rail equipment, and routes. This will be broken down by the different regions around the country, starting off with the Northeast. Chapter 1. The MBTA. The MBTA commuter rail is a railroad that operates mainly in Massachusetts and in some parts of Rhode Island. It is operated under contract by Keolis, which took over operations on July 1, 2014, from the Massachusetts Bay Commuter Railroad Company. As of 2023, the system had a ridership of 26 million, or about 1,400 per weekday, as of the first quarter of 2024, making it the fifth busiest commuter rail system in the U.S. The Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority was formed and began funding privately owned commuter operations on the New Haven and Boston Maine railroads in the 1960s. The MBTA took full control of the commuter lines in the mid-1970s. All trains on the MBTA operate diesel-electric locomotives. These include the F40PH3C, GP40MC, HSP46, and two currently out-of-service MP36PH3C locomotives that will be returned later this year. There are a total of 12 lines across its system, 4 on the north side and 8 on the south side. The lines on the north side go into North Station that include the Fitchburg Line, Lowell Line, Haverhill Line, and the Newburyport-Rockport Line. The lines on the south side go into South Station that include the Fairmount Line, Worcester Line, Greenbush Line, Kingston Line, Middleborough Lakeville Line, Franklin Line, Needham Line, and the Providence-Stoughton Line. Chapter 2. CTRail. CTRail is a railroad that operates in Connecticut and in some parts of Massachusetts. Services are operated under contract with Shoreline East, operated by Amtrak along the Northeast Corridor, and the Hartford Line, operated by a joint venture of Transit America Services and Alternate Concepts. As of 2021, the system had 280,000 riders, which is about half its 2019 ridership of nearly 600,000. Previous passenger service on all CTRail lines was provided by the New Haven Railroad. The state of Connecticut has been funding commuter rail on the New Haven line since the 1970s. CTRail began service on the Shoreline East in 1990 and on the Hartford Line in 2018. CTRail uses their electric multiple unit, or M8 rail cars on the Northeast Corridor, while they are shared with Shoreline East and the New Haven Line. The P40DC and GP40-3H are used on the Hartford Line, as well as the Metroliner cars used on the Valley Flyer. The Mafresa and MBB coaches are used on the Hartford Line, as the MBB coaches were leased from the MBTA. CTRail operates two commuter rail lines, the Hartford Line and Shoreline East. Both lines utilize portions of the Northeast Corridor, with trains terminating at Union Station in New Haven. The Hartford Line runs between Springfield, Massachusetts and New Haven, and Shoreline East runs between New London and New Haven. Chapter 3. Metro North. Metro North is a commuter rail service that serves the New York metropolitan area, running service between New York City and its northern suburbs in New York and Connecticut. As of 2023, it had 60 million people as their annual ridership, making it their second busiest commuter rail in North America. Metro North was created in 1983 when the state of New York took over commuter operations that were run by the Consolidated Rail Corporation, known as Conrail. The railroad was formed when several bankrupt railroads combined, mostly the New York Central Railroad and the New York, New Haven, and Hartford Railroad. Metro North uses an electric fleet of M3A, M7A, and M8 electric multiple units. Multiple diesel locomotives and push-pull coaches are in use as well. They also have EMD GP40 FH-2Ms, GP40PH-2Ms, and F40PH-3Cs that are operated by NJ Transit for west of Hudson services. They also operate their P32 ACDM, but it is planned for them to be replaced by the Siemens ST42DM locomotives in the future. The system has 5 north-south lines. 2 of these, the Port Jervis and Passaic Valley lines, run west of the Hudson River out of Hoboken Terminal in New Jersey and are operated in cooperation with New Jersey Transit. The remaining 3 all leave from Grand Central Terminal in New York. The Hudson River and Harlem lines are controlled entirely by Metro-North, while the New Haven line is run in partnership with the Connecticut Department of Transportation. Chapter 4. Long Island Railroad. The Long Island Railroad operates in the state of New York, stretching from Manhattan to the eastern tip of Suffolk County. In 2023, the system had a ridership of 75 million people as of the first quarter of 2024, as it is the busiest commuter rail in North America. First chartered as a private company in 1834, the Pennsylvania Railroad eventually assumed control of the company. The state of New York began financially supporting the railroad in the 1950s, eventually purchasing it outright in 1965. The Long Island Railroad's fleet consists of 3 types of electric multiple units, including type M3s, M7s, and M9s. Their only push-pull coach that they use is a type C3. The diesel electric locomotives that they operate are the DE30AC and DM30AC. The Long Island Railroad system has 11 passenger branches, 3 of which are main trunk lines that include the main line between Long Island City and Greenport, the Montauk branch between Long Island City and Montauk, and the Atlantic branch running mostly in New York City to the south of both the main line and Montauk branch between Atlantic Terminal and Valley Stream. Chapter 5. New Jersey Transit. New Jersey Transit operates in its namesake state of New Jersey. It also serves portions of the states of New York and Pennsylvania. In 2023, the system's annual ridership was 57 million, as it is the 3rd busiest commuter rail in North America. New Jersey Transit was founded in 1979 to merge and run commuter train, light rail, and bus services in New Jersey and neighboring states. It took over operations from various private bus companies and bought commuter rail lines from Conrail, which had previously operated passenger services. New Jersey Transit's diesel-electric locomotives they operate are their GP40s and F40s, as well as their new PL42AC units. Their diesel-electric dual-mode units are type ALP45 and 46s. For passenger coaches, NJT owns a mix of single and multi-level coaches, all built by Bombardier and Alstom. NJT still owns a number of General Electric Aero 3 type electrical multiple unit self-propelled passenger cars. There are 13 lines, 2 of which are operated under a contract with Metro-North. These include the Atlantic City Line, Bergen County Line, Main Line, Meadowlands Rail Line, Montclair-Boonton Line, Morris and Essex Lines, consisting of the Morristown Line and Gladstone Branch, the North Jersey Coast Line, Northeast Corridor Line, which includes the Princeton Branch, the Passaic Valley Line, Port Jervis Line, and Raritan Valley Line. Chapter 6. SEPTA. SEPTA serves the city of Philadelphia and 4 surrounding counties within the Philadelphia metropolitan area, which includes Delaware, Montgomery, Bucks, and Chester. As of 2020, its annual ridership was 223 million, as they are the 6th largest U.S. rapid transit system by ridership and the 5th largest overall transit system in the U.S. SEPTA was created in the 1960s to prevent the discontinuance of more commuter rail lines in the Philadelphia metro area. At first, other railroads were subsidized to maintain the service, as was the case with both New Jersey Transit and Metro-North. SEPTA fully took over operations from Conrail in 1983. SEPTA uses a mixed fleet of General Electric and Hyundai Rotem Silverliner electric multiple unit cars used on all regional rail lines. SEPTA also uses push-pull equipment, coaches built by Bombardier, hauled by ACS-64 locomotives similar to those used by Amtrak. They have 13 lines that include the Airport Line, Chestnut Hill East Line, Chestnut Hill West Line, Sidwood Line, Fox Chase Line, Lansdale Doylestown Line, Manayunk Norristown Line, Media Wawa Line, Paoli Thorndale Line, Trenton Line, Warminster Line, West Trenton Line, and the Wilmington Newark Line. Chapter 7. MARC. MARC, or the Maryland Area Regional Commuter, is a commuter rail system in the Washington-Baltimore area. MARC is administered by the Maryland Transit Administration and is operated under contract by Alstom and Amtrak on tracks owned by CSX Transportation and Amtrak. In 2023, The system had a ridership of 3.8 million as of the first quarter of 2024. MARC took over from the other operators that were struggling to maintain service. In this case, it was primarily the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, with some services coming from the Penn Central. Even after the Amtrak takeover of most passenger services in 1971, many railroads in the eastern half of the country continued to operate money-losing commuter routes, including the B&O and the Penn Central. The Maryland Department of Transportation started subsidizing services in the mid-1970s, which eventually established the Maryland Regional Commuter brand, later called MARC, in 1984. MARC operates diesel electric locomotives, including their HHP8s, MP36PH3Cs, and SE44s. Their passenger cars are a mix of single and multi-level style coaches built by Nippon Sharyo, Kawasaki, and Bombardier. MARC has 3 lines that radiate from Union Station in Washington, D.C., the Penn Line between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, the Camden Line between Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, and the Brunswick Line between Washington, D.C. and Frederick, Maryland. Chapter 8. Conclusion. That wraps up this video on discussing U.S. commuter railroads. In the next video, we will continue looking at different commuter railroads around the country, seeing what they have to offer. If you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing, as these videos take a lot of work to make and your support is greatly appreciated. With that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.